So this is what yesterday we have seen, like how to yes, how to insert. Then if you want to, yes, how to insert the details we have seen. Huh? So yesterday we have seen how to insert, right? Right now, how to insert the data, and let us see how to perform other operations, like how to update it. So open MySQL command line client to see what is our database DB2 and select star from EMP, right? Now what I want is, I want to update salary of one employee. I want to write a Python program to update. I want to write a Python program to update the salary of employee. Okay. So anyway, the logic is very simple. Same. What are the basic steps? First, you have to establish connection to the database. Okay. What are the basic steps? The first one is you have to establish connection to the database. And how you are establishing connection to a database? Okay, by using which one? Connect. So MySQL, see, I just give an alias name because rather than writing MySQL.connector, I can simply write what? MySQL. MySQL.connect. What is my database? DB2. What is the database username? Root. What is the database password? Is also there. That is root again. Then after that, I'm creating a cursor. Connection dot cursor. I'm creating a cursor saying connection dot cursor. So after, because you execute SQL statements within the cursor. So first you are trying to input what? Employee number. Which employee salary you want to update. So you are trying to input employee number. And then you are trying to input what here? Salary. You are trying to input how many values here? 2 values. The first one is employee number. Okay, what is the first one? Employee number. And what is the second one? Salary, right? Then after that, there is a command here. Command is, what you're trying to do, you're saying update EMP. Okay, set salary equal to salary plus. Salary plus. What is a salary plus? This is a replacement field. You are adding the salary where this is employee number. For example, I want to update salary of employee 101. So here, employee number I input is 101, and the salary I want to increase is some 2000. Then cursor.execute command. What is my command? Update. What is my command? Update EMP set salary equal to salary plus percentages. What is the value of this percentages? Sal. What is the value of salary? 2000. So update EMP set salary equal to salary plus 2000, where employee number equal to percentage S. What is the value of this percentage S? 101. So what will be the command now? Update EMP set salary equal to salary plus 2000, where employee number equal to 101. So 101 employee will be updated. After updating, what is the result of this command is count. So this will return the count. How many rows are updated? That will return the row count. That will return a row count. Row count is nothing but how many rows are updated. That is called as what? A row count. If the value of k is greater than 0, you're saying no. If the number of, suppose, if there is no employee number, suppose I enter employee number 1. What is it? Employee number 1 is there? No. Then will it update? Is it update will update any rows? No. Then what will be the row count? 0. If it is updated, row count will be greater than 0. If it is updated 2 rows, then row count is 2. If it is updated 1 row, then row count is 1, like that. If the value of k is greater than 0, if the value of k is greater than 0, you are saying salary updated. You are saying salary updated and commit the changes. Otherwise, you are saying this employee is not exist. Where you are saying invalid employee number. This employee is not exist, where you are saying invalid employee number. Invalid employee number. Okay. Yes. So I try to execute this code here. So once I run this, I have to enter employee number. What is employee number here? 101. And I want to increase the salary. So I want to increase the salary with some 2000. Now you can see salary updated. See in the back end. So what you are writing here, select star from EM. Now it is 53,000. Now previously it is 51,000, is updated with what? 2,000. Now I try to execute again. I enter employee number 1 and salary is 100. Employee number 1 and salary is what? 100. Now you can see the message, invalid employee number. Because there is no employee with the number 1. Okay. Yes. Now this is what you are updating. So you want to update it. You are sending which command to the database? Update command. If you want to insert, you are sending which command to the database? Insert command. If you want to update, you are sending which command to the database? Update command. In the same way, if you want to delete employee, if you want to delete employee, you are saying import mysql.connectorize what? MySQL. So this is alias name, and you are saying mysql.connect. So you are saying database is the DB2, and my database username is root, and the password is also what here? Root. Then I try to create a cursor by saying connection dot, what I'm saying here, cursor. So you're asking which employee you want to delete. Which employee you want to delete. So integer of input, enter employee number to delete. So command equal to delete from EMP where employee number equal to percentage S. So this is having how many placeholders? 1. So what is the value of this percentage is employee number. Suppose I enter employee number 1. So what will be the command here? Delete from EMP where employee number equal to what? 1. But is it any employee with the employee number 1? No. There is no employee with employee number 1. There is no employee with the employee number 1. So what will happen? What will be the row count? 0. Is it 0 is greater than 0? No. Then it will display message employee not found. Suppose if you input the employee which is there, then it will try to delete. So you should know which command you have to execute it. So based on that, you try to send the command. Based on that, you'll try to send the command, whether you want to insert, you want to update, or you want to delete. So enter employee number to delete. I've given 1. What employee number 1 is there? No. Now you can see employee not found. This employee is not there. I try to enter employee number 105. Employee deleted. See 105. If I say select star from EMP, now there is no employee with an employee number 105. There is no employee with the employee number 105. So is it that employees get deleted or not? Yes. That employee get deleted, right? So that is called as deleting here. Then how can you retrieve the data from database? This is reading data from database table. So if you want to read data from database table, so the cursor object provide the following fetch methods. Cursor object provide the following fetch methods to read data or rows. So cursor object provide the following fetch methods to read data or rows. So there is a methods like fetch one, fetch many, and fetch all. Okay, there is a method called fetch one because to read the data from database, you'll send which command to the database? Select command. What command you send to the database? Select command. What is the command you send to the database? Select command you send to the database. If this is a database, okay, this database is having what here? Table. So if you want to retrieve the data, which command you are sending? Select command. If I say select star from EMP, it will retrieve. This is a command sent to the database, and database will execute this command and return the result within the cursor object. Where the result is written in cursor object. The result is written in which object here? Cursor object. So this cursor object is having result of executed query. This cursor object is having result of executed query. So from this cursor object, you can read the data by using fetch methods. So if you want to fetch one row, you'll use fetch one. If you want to fetch a number of rows, then you'll use fetch many. If you want to fetch all the rows, you'll try to use what? Fetch all. If you want to fetch one row, you'll use fetch one. If you want to fetch specified number of rows, then use fetch many. Okay, then use fetch many. If you want to fetch all the rows, then you are using fetch all. Then you are using fetch all. So fetch all is there. So that will fetch more than one row. Fetch all is there. That will fetch more than one row. Okay. So fetch one is there. Fetch one, fetch many, and fetch one, fetch many, and fetch all. So that is what. So select command, select star from EMP like that. So fetch one, read one row from cursor, and fetch many is followed by rows. How many rows you want to read from cursor? Read a specified number of rows from the cursor. And there is a fetch all. So this will read all the rows from the cursor. This will read specified number of rows from the cursor. And this will read all the rows from the cursor. So all these methods return each row as a tuple. All these methods return each row as one tuple. It will return each row as one tuple. So fetch many and fetch all methods return a list which consists of what here? Tuples. So how to read it? Now same thing, but the thing is here you have to send which command? Here you have to send which command to read all the data? Fetch all. So send a command called select. Select a star from EM. Okay, which command you are executing? Select star from EMP. It will read the complete table data and store in which object? Cursor object. It will read the complete table data and store in which object? Cursor object. So then you are saying rows equal to cursor dot fetch all. So what fetch all will do is it will return the list, and within this list you have a tuple, and this tuple is having okay the content, each row. Now what is that? Each row? Employee number, name, and salary. What is each row here? Employee number, name, and one more is what here? Salary, like this. So it will return the list of tuples, and each tuple is called one. It will return the list of tuples, and each tuple is called as one row. So rows is nothing but list. So from rows, you are reading each time one row. Okay, so each row is one tuple, right? So you're trying to print the tuple. Okay, and even you can read from tuples individual values. See, for row in rows, so each row is one tuple, and from that tuple, row is nothing but tuple. So first number is assigned to employee number, and second one is assigned to employee name, and third one is assigned to what here? Salary. First one is assigned to employee number, second one is assigned to employee name, and third one is assigned to what here? Salary. And you are trying to display all the things. You can say this is a list of tuples, and I read individual rows, and then I read individual values. But for doing this, you are trying to use fetch methods. Fetch. Now this is fetch one. If you want to fetch one row, if you want to fetch one row, you are using which one? Fetch one. If you want to fetch one row, it will you use fetch one. So each time it will read only one row. But if there is no rows to fetch, it returns what it returns? None. Suppose my database table is having 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but 5 rows are there. I mean, 4 rows are there. So how many rows are there? 4 rows. I fetch 4 rows. But when I'm trying to fetch a fifth row by saying fetch 1, if I'm trying to fetch fifth row by saying fetch 1, and if I say print row, so this might tries, I mean, this might display which one? None. So fetch 1 returns none if there is no more rows. So fetch 1 will fetch how many rows here? Only 1 row. Fetch 1 will fetch only 1 row. But there is a fetch many is there, where you can specify how many rows you want to fetch it. Okay, if you want to specify number of rows, fetch all is all the rows. Fetch 1 means 1 row. Fetch many, it followed by how many rows you want to read. Fetch many, it followed by how many rows you want to read. I want to read how many rows here? 2 rows. Okay, so it will read how many rows? 2 rows as one list. So there will be one list, and that list contain how many tuples here? 2 tuples. And each tuple is called as 1 row. This is one employee, and this is what? Another employee. So each row is 1 tuple. Now this is one employee, and this is what here? Another employee. Each row is 1 tuple. Each row is 1 tuple, right? So you are trying to read how many rows here? 2 rows. Now this is first row, and this is what here? Second row. So each row is 1 tuple. So this is how you perform CRUD operations. CRUD operations means inserting, updating, deleting, retrieving data from database table. If you want to insert the data, you will send which command? Insert command. If you want to update it, then you send which command? Update. If you want to delete, you'll send which command? Delete command. And if you want to retrieve, you will send which command? Select command. Okay. But you are sending all these commands using which method? Execute method. Now this is working with MySQL, but there is, see, you can, using Python, you can communicate with any database. Using Python, you can able to communicate with what? Any database. Any database you can communicate. So Python is able to communicate with any database. Python is able to communicate with any database. Okay, right? So to communicate with Oracle database, so anyway, first you have to install the Oracle. First thing what you have to do is you have to install the Oracle. So Oracle 11G Express Edition, you can download Oracle Express Edition. You can download it. So here you can find out, oh, 21C is there. Oracle 11G you can download. So actually, if you want to download this, okay, Oracle database 11G. So download Oracle Express Edition 11G, right? Express Edition, you can download it. But for this, you require a, what is that? Uh, yes. So this is a link here. Oracle database 11G Express Edition for Windows 64 as well as what? 32. So I just place this link here, download and install it. So you can find this at this particular link. So you can download this. Okay. So after downloading Oracle database, now previously we are communicating with which database? MySQL. This is which database here? MySQL database. And now I want to communicate with which database? Oracle database. Now I want to communicate with which database? Oracle database. So this is my Python program. Okay. This is my Python program. So to communicate with MySQL database, so what is the library it is used? MySQL connector. MySQL connector, what is it? Python. We use MySQL connector Python to communicate with which database? MySQL database. If you want to communicate with Oracle database, you required one more called CX. CX underscore what is it? Oracle. Now this is a library. This is a library or API which is used to communicate with which database? Oracle database. CX underscore Oracle is used to communicate with which database? Oracle database. So you can just install it by saying pip. You have to install it by saying pip install CX underscore what? Oracle. So go to the command prompt. So here you can just write pip install CX underscore Oracle. So if it is not installed, it will install it. Now this is already exists. Pip and list. Now these are the list of libraries which are already installed. Within that already we have MySQL connector, Python, and there is another one which is called CX underscore Oracle. Now everything is same, but only the thing is library. Everything is what? Same. Only the thing is library. There you'll write MySQL dot connector dot connect, but here you'll write cx underscore oracle dot connect. So this will connect to which database? Oracle database here. So whenever you install the Oracle database, there will be a database name. So database will have the username and password. When you install the Oracle database, you find some users. Within that, one user is system and password is what here? Manager. And Oracle, there will be default database created called XC. If it is Express Edition, what is the name of the database is XC. If it is Express Edition, what is the name of the database? XC is the name of the database. So system is Oracle database username and manager is Oracle database what? Password. Now X is nothing but name of the database. If you want to know what is the name of the database, you can go to service name. You can go to services. Just go to services. Okay, just go to services. And within this services, you can see Oracle service. And what is the name of this database here? XC. Okay, service name is what here? XC, right? Okay, is it database name or service name? Then if you want to work with Oracle, what you have to do is you have to open run SQL command line. Previous one, to work with MySQL, you have to run MySQL command line. This is for MySQL. This is for which one? Run SQL command line. This is to work with which database? Oracle database. Run SQL command line. And here you can give connect. Username is a system. And password is what here? Manage. So this is connected to which database? Oracle database. Connected to which database? Oracle database. Now here I try to create one table. What is the name of, see, run SQL command line. You have to run what? SQL command line, run SQL command line and connect to the Oracle database and create one table first. Okay. Create one table. How you create a table? So create, now already one table is there. Drop table users profile. Now we'll create one table. So create table users profile. So where I'm trying to store whose details? Users details. Like every application, there will be sign up, sign in, right? When it says sign up is nothing but storing user details into database table, right? So create table. What is the name of the table here? Users profile. Now this is having name. So name is varchar2. This is a data type of Oracle. And there is a user name which is varchar2 of 20. Size is 20. I'm saying primary key, which is unique and not null. And the next one is password. There's a column called which one? Password. So which is varchar2, some 10 I'll give. Okay. Now table is created. You can describe this. So describe. What is the name of the table? User profile. So describe user's profile. So what is the name of the table? Users profile. So this is having how many columns here? 3 columns. The first column is a name and second column is username and third column is what here? Password. So that is how you're trying to create it. Name, username, and one more is passwords. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll try to write again same thing. Write a program to register user. So registering user is nothing but inserting values into a database table. Registering user is nothing but inserting values into a database table. So that is nothing but registering user. Inserting data into a database table. So that is nothing but registering user. What are the basic steps? Same only. Only one thing will change. What is that change? Library. But remaining functions will be same. Okay, because all these libraries followed same set of rules and regulations. All these libraries follows same set of rules and regulations. Same set of rules and regulations. It follows the same rules and regulations. It follows the same rules and regulations. Okay, so now connect is it. So connect is a function and where there is a username and password. And what is X here is database name. So here you don't create any database. There will be a database created by default. And what is the name of the database here? XC. Okay. And then second step is creating what? Cursor. Registering user is nothing but you are inserting user details into database. What are the details you are inserting into a database? Name. You are trying to input what here? Name. You are trying to input what here? Username. You are trying to input what here? Password. You are trying to input how many values here? 3 values. The first one is a name, and second one is username, and third one is what here? Password. You are trying to input the name, username, and one more is what? Password. So there is a command here. What is the command here? Insert into what is the name of the table? Users profile. Insert into users profile values. Insert into users profile values. You are trying to insert how many values here? 3 values. But here each field is represented with number. But there we are using percentage S. The placeholders or replacement fields are represented with what? Percentage S. But here we are not representing with percentage S. But each replacement field or placeholder is identified with what? Number. So this colon 1 represents what here? Name. This colon 2 represents what here? Username. This colon 3 represents what here? Password. So each field is replaced with, or these placeholders are replaced with this particular values. After executing, you are returning row count. If the count is greater than 0, you are saying user registered. Okay. If count is greater than 0, you are saying this user is registered. Now I'll try to enter the name is Naresh, username is NIT, password is NIT123. Now you can see user what? Registered. User registered with name, username, and one more is what? Password. Now you can see in the Oracle database. So here you'll say select star from users profile. Now you can see one user is registered. So here user registration is nothing but inserting details into database table. See the way how you are working with MySQL, in the same way you'll be working with Oracle. Only the difference is rather than using MySQL library, you are using which library? Oracle library. For example, sign in or login. This is a sign in. This is a sign in. So sign in is nothing but verifying this user is exist or not. So login. So what you do in login, you enter the username. So what is the username is NIT. What is the password is NIT123. Username is NIT and the password is NIT123. Username is NIT and password is NIT123. Two things are there. One is username and second one is what here? Password. You are trying to input two things. One is username, the other one is what? Password. One is username, the other one is a password. Okay. And after giving this username and password, you are trying to verify. So is it this username is a valid or not? You are verifying, is it this username is valid or not? You are verifying this username is valid or not. By saying select star from user profile, select star from users profile where username equal to 1, where username equal to 1 and password equal to 2. So what is the first one? Username. What is the second one? Password. So what will be the command now? Select star from users profile where username so where username equal to 1. So 1 is nothing but what here? NIT. Select star from users profile where username equal to NIT and password equal to NIT123. Username equal to 1 NIT and password equal to NIT123. So if there is any row with this username and password, then cursor will have how many rows? One row. Then you will say cursor dot fetch one. So will it fetch one row or not? Yes. Suppose if I enter username, if I enter username XYZ, is it any user with XYZ? No. Then when you say fetch one, will it fetch any rows? No. Then what fetch one will return? None. What fetch one will return? None. If it is a none, you are saying invalid username or password. Otherwise, you are displaying the message with welcome. Otherwise, you are displaying the message with what here? Welcome. Now, username is NIT, password is NIT123. Now, welcome here. Username is XYZ, password is NIT123. You can see invalid username or password. So if you want to log in, first you send a query saying that is it this user is exist or not. If user is exist, it will store the details into the cursor. If the user is not exist, the cursor will be what? Empty. Then when you invoke this fetch one, will return none. When you invoke the fetch one, it will return the none. If the row is not equal to none, then you will say, this is welcome to user, otherwise invalid username or password. Suppose I want to change the password, updating password. See all these like applications, right? Where you use in your application. If you're developing any application like banking application or any application, you do all these operations. You do all these operations, right? Like updating the password, updating the pin, like that. Will you do some operations or not? Yes. Okay, right. So this is updating the password. For updating the password, you have to send which command? Update command. But before updating it, you are trying to verify, is it that user is exist or not? So first you enter username and old password. Then you are retrieving the details. If the details are there, then fetch one will return one row. If the row is not equal to none, you are trying to input which password? New password. Then update user's profile, set password equal to which password? New password. And for you're updating the password of which user, you have to enter where username. Now which user password you're updating it, and what is the old password of that particular user. Then it will update. It will update and commit the changes. If the user is not there, then it will give the error, right? Now suppose enter username XYZ, ABC. Now invalid username or password. Enter username NIT, old password NIT123. Now is asking new password NIT321. Now you can see the password is updated. Now select star from users profile. Now you can see the password is updated from NIT123 to what? NIT321. So that is updating. And if you want to delete it, then you have to send which command again? Delete command. So deleting user. Now you have to enter which user you want to delete. So anyway, first you have to connect, create the cursor, input username and input what? Password, and send which command to the database? Delete. Delete from user's profile where username equal to 1 and password equal to 2. 1 is nothing but username. Suppose I want to delete user whose username is NIT, whose password is NIT123. Now delete from user's profile where username equal to NIT and password equal to NIT123. Okay, so is it user with the username NIT and NIT123 exists? Yes, it will delete. Now what is the row count? 1. If the count is 1, you'll say user deleted. Suppose if I enter username ABC, but is it any user with the name ABC? No. Then what is the count here? 0. If the count is 0, you'll say user not exists. You'll say user is not exists. Okay. Now username, I'll enter some ABC and XYZ, user not exists. If I enter NIT, so 321, now user is deleted. If I say select star from users profile, now this table is empty or not? Yes. No rows selected. So because it is empty. No rows selected because it is what? Empty. Right? No rows selected because it is empty. Okay. Right. Yeah, this is how you communicate with which database? Oracle database. Then next we'll see. Now this is database. Okay, this is Python database communication. So you can able to communicate with various databases. You can communicate with Oracle database, MySQL database, Postgres SQL database, SQL server. But what you need to, what you required only? Library. To connect with SQL server, you required SQL server Python library like that. So that is a library or API which you use to communicate with what? Various databases. Now next we'll see working with the GUI programming. Yes. Now this is nothing but working with the Kinter. GUI programming is nothing but working with what here? Kinter. TK Inter or Kinter. It's called as TK Inter. It is called as a TK Inter, or the same thing is called as what here? Kinter. It's called as TK Inter, or same thing is called as what? Kinter. So what is Kinter? TK. TK means toolkit interface. Some people say is an interface is a toolkit to develop Windows based. It is a toolkit which is used to develop which applications? Windows based applications. If you want to develop Windows based applications, you develop it by using which one? TK Inter. Okay, so GUI stands for graphical user interface. So GUI applications are which applications? Windows based applications. GUI applications are Windows based applications. Like example is like calculator is there. I can say this calculator. So this calculator is called which application? GUI application. So where now this is Windows based, right? To develop this Windows based or GUI application, Python provide n number of libraries. There are so many libraries are there in Python to develop this Windows based applications. Like one is TK Inter, second one is WX Python, and third one is Kiwi, and fourth one is what? PyQt. Right? All these are different libraries. TK Inter, WX Python, Kiwi, and one more is what? PyQt. So default library which comes with the Python software is TK Inter. No. So the default library which comes with the Python software is what? TK Inter, right? Default library which comes with Python software is TK Inter. So TK Inter is a package. Inter is a package, comes with the Python software. It is used for developing Windows based or GUI applications. It is used for developing Windows based or GUI applications. Now, Kinter module comes with the Python software. So it is a default GUI module which comes with the Python software. Kinter module provides graphical elements or objects, which are called this graphical elements or objects are called which one here? Widgets. This graphical elements or objects are called which one? Widgets. And every widget is one type of class. Like if you want to create, for example, I want to create a window. I want to create a button. I want to create what is that? Entry. So all these are called as what here? Widgets. Every GUI component is called as a widget. Like button, text box, label, list box, all these are called as widget. But to develop a GUI application, the root object, what you required is the root object, what you required is the root object, what you required is to develop this Windows base. What is the root object you required is what is the root object required is So TK class. What is the name of the class you have? TK class. TK class or type is used to create a top level window. Okay, this window hold. Okay, this field window hold or contain other widgets. So where you are placing all these buttons and these fields within one window. So how you create a window by using which class? Yes, how you create a window by using which class? TK class. Now you are trying to create a window. Now this is creating a window here. So how you are trying to create a window here is by creating object of which class here? TK class. So GUI some test one. So I try to run this by saying run module. You can see this is a window. And I put the title of window as what? Window 1. And this is a background color. Now, how can you create a window? You create a window by using which class? TK class. So Kinter is a package and TK is what here? Class. So this will create a window object and assign to one variable called window. Then you have to define the size of the window. How can you define the size of the window? Geometry. Now this geometry is used to define the size of the window. This is a width and this is what here? Height. So this is a width of the window. Okay, now this is width of the window and this is, I can increase. I said 500 is the width of the window and this you can call it as height of the window. This is a height of the window. So I can increase the size of the width as well as what? Height. So what is the title of the window? Title bar, window 1, that is a title. And you can change the background. In the background, you can place either color. Background, you can put a color, or at the background, you can put what? Image also. At the background, you can put a color, or at the background, you can put what? Image also. Correct. So after that, if you want to execute the window, you are trying to put one function called main loop. So this is to run the window. If you want to run the window, you are executing one method of window. And what is that method here? Main loop. See, this is only variable name. This is object name. You can give any name. But this is for creating window. What is a, so which class you are using for creating window? TK class. Which class you are creating a window for creating window? TK class. This class you are using it for creating what? Window, right? So once you create a window, inside this window, what you do? You place what? Inside this window, you place what? Button. Inside the window, what you place here? Button. So button, the button is created. The button is created using button widget or a class. So all widgets are created within root window. All widgets are created within root window. So you are creating object of which class? Button class. Button, you are creating a button within window. You are trying to define the properties or what? Attributes. So what are the properties of that text? What is the text of the button? What is the background of button? what is the foreground of button, what is the font of button, what is the image of button, what is a command. Means if you click on this button, what function you want to perform. So that is represented by using which one? Command. So this command represent which function you want to execute. When you click on this button, which function you want to invoke, which function you want to call, or which function you want to invoke. So that is represented using which one? Command. The function which has to be executed when click on this button. The function which has to be executed when click on this button. So that you represented using what here? Command. That you represented using command, right? So we'll see otherwise like how to work with the GUI. Okay. Now with this GUI, I'll tell you one application. Okay, with this GUI, I'll tell you one application, and then we'll see garbage collection, right? Yes, maybe tomorrow we'll see. Okay. Yeah, we'll see tomorrow, rest of the things. If possible, I'll complete it tomorrow. Otherwise, day after tomorrow, right? So thank you. We'll see tomorrow, right? Okay.